Before Paul and I head off to Africa with some riders and to do classes out there, this is a great opportunity to review a basic skill set here at Penmerryl Farms in Virginia. And let's talk about ascending hills, going up. There's a couple things you may have heard or you've been told about going up hills, and I'm going to tell you where those are flawed, and then I'm going to take you to some hills that are a little more challenging than what I have behind me. The basics of a hill, or what you may have heard, is when you go up a hill, you want to look at the top of the hill, you want to get your body forward on the bike, and you want to add throttle. And if a hill is very basic and very simple like this, that may be enough. It's got a clean approach, it's a straight run to the top, and it runs off. Traction's pretty decent here, a little loose at the top. But that's where one of the other basic rules comes into play. A high traction hill like this, you can move forward on the bike. But a low traction hill, you have to shift back and drop your rear end over the back of the motorcycle so you have more traction at the back tire. We need weight on that back tire, and then we need to modulate the power with the clutch. We don't want to spin the tire. Likely the most common error that I see with riders going up hills is as they get to the very top, they start adding throttle, more throttle, and their tire spins and spins and spins, and rocks and dirt are freaking everywhere. But that's not what should be happening. When you go up, it should be uneventful. It should not be exciting. There shouldn't be bikes and rocks and things falling all over the hill. It should be nice and controlled and very precise. That shifting back on the bike and modulating the power with the clutch and throttle is what allows you to do that. That second error that I alluded to that's very common is that we look at the top of the hill and not beyond the hill, which means it's common for a rider to get right to the crest and then lose momentum and get stuck there. And although this is a great hill to learn how to start, to get those basics, to build confidence, it's not necessarily what we find when we actually go on a trip or if we go ride a trail. Hills often have changes on the hill, changes in elevation, changes in traction. You might have trees right in the middle of the hill where you have to go around them. These all change the strategy or how you approach a hill. Let's go take a look at a hill that's just a little more challenging than this.
So the first challenge of this hill is at the bottom. We come in from the side and we're coming around a curve coming in. And if you look at the base of the hill, we've got a sharp edge here and we've got loose over there. This is much more predictable traction, but because of the sharp edge, we put a kicker in the front of it because this is loose and might kick out as we try to come around the corner because we're actually going to be turning as we go up the hill. Once we get past the first part of this, then it starts getting a little slick up here, so it's tough to add any momentum until we get across the top of this mound. We've got to wait for the bike to settle back down because the suspension's going to unload. Once the bike settles again, then we can start adding power after we've regained some traction. After your initial setup, the hill only gets steeper, and then we've got a curve to the left.
The top of the hill is where the traction usually gets the sketchiest. Not that it's not loose at the bottom, not that we don't have a difficult approach. Like Paul said, we don't have a lot of momentum down there. We have an angled approach, but up here, this is where the soil always ends up getting loose because the tires are spinning. It's also the steepest part of the hill. If we come up this hill and we just hammer that throttle, we get too much throttle, we end up spinning out. We tear up the hill for ourselves and for everybody else coming up behind us. If you watch Paul come up the hill, it looks boring. Good technique, looks terrible on camera. There's no wheel spin, he's leaving track in the ground, and he's comfortable. It doesn't look exciting, and that's when you know you have good technique, because it just doesn't look thrilling. It doesn't mean I can't ride up the hill looking exciting, spinning the wheels, spitting dirt everywhere so it looks dramatic on camera. I can still get to the top of the hill, but I trash my tires, I trash the hill for everybody else behind me. We want that good technique. Easy on the clutch, buffer that power. As we approach the top of the hill, we have to decrease our power input so we don't have that wheel spin. That's the difficult part. And a hill like this makes it exceptionally difficult because we're curving, we're turning, we're going around trees, we have an angled approach, angled up the hill, and at the very top of the hill we have roots and then another turn. But it's not the most difficult hill that we have here in Virginia on Penmerryl Farms. We've got something even better. This is the most challenging hill on Penmerryl Farms. This thing is ridiculous, and if you're riding adventure bikes and you ever come here, this is stupid. Don't even try it. So what do you think, Paul?
You've lost your damn mind.
So this one has a pretty good approach for speed, but we can't hit the hill at speed because it's loose, big rocks, and a really tight turn. What's your plan, Paul?
Well, and like you said, there's plenty of room for run up here. But once you get over this first part, there are lots of trees to hit. And then we've got to make this off-camber turn. And then it turns again.
So what I think is going to happen, I'm going to come up here, scrub all my speed off because I can't bank. Because all we have here is pine needles and loose rocks on the outside. I'm going to try to get into here where we have, oh, that rock's in the way. That one too, and that one. Well, okay, and when I get into here, I do have some rocks here maybe I can bank off
that
of.
You can push against, yep. Got some notches there. They look like they're pretty well bedded. Pretty solid.
Well, and if I can hit this with, if I can hit the front tire into here, into the rock, then I can get some tilt because we've got narrow space here. And if I lean over, I'm pulling the mirrors off so I don't clip the mirror through here. And then I'm gonna shoot up wide. I'm gonna go up through the high side.
Well, and if you're carrying any momentum, that's where most riders would probably end up anyway, because it's gonna push you up high. I mean, you could scrub some off here, it levels out if you wanted to come down on the low side.
Honestly, Paul, I don't think I'm gonna have any momentum. If I make it through there, I'm gonna be crawling. And with all of this, again, with all this pine needle, I don't think I'm gonna get any traction.
Yeah, that's assuming we even make it to here.
That's assuming we make it to here, but here's my problem here. If I come down, even if I can get down low, we're off camber. If I can get my front tire up onto this hill here, I'll get the tire up high. The rear's not gonna climb, that's my thought. I'm gonna end up crab walking it, the back's gonna slide, but if I have the front tire up here and the back down low to the tree, maybe I can get back onto this trail.
Maybe. Good luck.
So the truth is, guys, I'll give myself maybe a 15% chance that this is gonna work, and maybe a 5% chance the plan actually goes as planned. What I think is really gonna happen is, if I make the first turn, I'm probably gonna do a stop and a reset for the second curve, and then I can get up and around this one here. There's no momentum, there's no speed, there's almost no traction. I'm on the Africa Twin. It's got an older, wore out EO7 Plus, which is primarily a 50-ish, maybe 40%, so 30% adventure tire. So it has more street than it has adventure to it.
And this is where you say, hold my beer and watch this. So I'll be right here holding your beer.
A big thank you to both Murat and Kong here, who are both Patreon supporters for the channel, for coming out, playing with me, shooting this video, and adding some challenge and excitement. And of course, it's always good to have Paul on the show doing this stuff with us. The goal for us, besides just showing you techniques on getting up the hill, is showing you the failure's okay. That's not a problem. This last hill we did was intended to take us to a point of failure so we would have opportunities to challenge our skills, challenge our plans, and to improve as riders. We're doing it with a group of riders, so if something happens, we have help. It's easy to go up a hill and just follow the formulas that others give you of just add throttle, get up over the handlebars, keep your eyes at the top of the hill and you'll make it if all the hill is a straight hill. As soon as it starts getting challenging, when you have a challenging approach, like the first hill that Paul set a kicker in on, or a challenging hill like this where we have multiple significant switchback turns with boulders, rocks, and pine needles, that's when you start really having to walk things, make a plan, and add in all those other skill sets. Thanks for watching the channel. Thanks for all your support. Remember, ride with a smile. Attitude matters.
Nice job, guys. Not baby yourself.
What do you think? Is that okay? A little shorter, sweeter, to the point?
This was
And I love the closing, yeah, the attitude matters, the signature.
Okay.